And so is there some grand global agenda to like control the population? And this has been thought about for tens, decades and decades, and something is happening here, and these other people that you're talking about that have been taken out are maybe getting in the way of that. Is that what we're seeing now? And now are people complicit in this? Is that what you think is happening?
They're definitely complicit in it. So what happened with the virus when it got to China, whether it was a virus that got to China or whether the techniques to make this into the chimeric gain of function COVID-19 eventuality, whether that was done in China, the technology was developed and technology was taught in University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill. And so I don't know whether it was the end product that was transferred or it was just the technology that was transferred. So, but again, none of that is relevant. You know, it's kind of like, which route did you go between New York to California? Did you go stop over in Chicago or in Dallas or wherever? It doesn't make any difference. You're going to California. So the whole thing is it got to China. The fact that now you've got this COVID-19, whether it was an accidental release or it was an intentional release, I don't know. But I can tell you this, it doesn't explain the complicit nature of the United States and of many other countries. These are the leaders. And when I'm talking about leaders, I'm talking about sometimes the leaders are good guys. They're being misinformed by those that they rely upon to shut down the economies. So there's a complicitness throughout the globe, and that is very sinister. Now you start looking at where does all this go? So I'm just going to draw the lines because I'm kind of speaking. Some people may think I'm speaking somewhat cryptically, and I'm not trying to speak cryptically. I'm just trying to give the information that I know for sure. But these are the facts. Dr. Fauci has been involved with promotion of drugs that we know are not good. This started in 1981 when he talked about the gay disease, talking about HIV, and funded a drug and pushed for this drug for 3 years that caused a lot of problems, prophylactic prevention of HIV supposedly. And now we know that's a lifestyle issue. There's many other things, nutrition plays a part, et cetera, et cetera. But he pushed for this 3 years before a virus was ever identified in 1984. So Dr. Fauci has this history. He has been in the pockets of somebody interesting, Bill Gates. Now, Bill Gates couldn't keep viruses out of Windows, but he wants to keep viruses out of humans. So now let's see how he's trying to do that. Why does Bill Gates, who's not a virologist, he's not a researcher, he's not a scientist, he's not a doctor, for God's sake, I don't even think he has a college degree, but he's on mainstream media talking about the impact of this virus on humans and how we are going to have to go 6 months, a year before we can actually congregate again. He has also been documented year after year talking about vaccination, depopulation through vaccination. We look at his history and it goes back to this idea of eugenics historically. Now, he's funded so many different agencies and he's got so many countries where he has multiple lawsuits again because of the damage that they've caused from viruses. I can read you some historical stuff that my friend Bobby Kennedy just recently put out, but it's incredible, the history of it. And I can go through some of this information if you want. But the bottom line is he owns the patents on coronavirus, on COVID-19. One of those patents in Europe was granted and perfected in November of 2019. I'm not talking about a vaccine. I'm talking about the actual virus. Now, I want you to think about this. H1N1 came out 10 years ago. President Obama said 60 million people were going to die in the United States, 20% of the population. They didn't. Do you know why they didn't? Because they refused en masse to take the H1N1 vaccine. I put out a couple of videos then, and it's, some people said that it had a big impact. Whether it did or not, I don't really care. I just wanted people to stop thinking that H1N1 was going to save them. I remember traveling from a conference in the airport. Obama's talking about on the TV in these restaurants in the airport, talking about how we need to be very safe and it's going to kill 60 million people. And people were laughing. Washington State, New York State, they had nursing associations that were ready to go all the way to the Supreme Court if necessary to protest the unconstitutionality of being mandated to take a vaccine that was not proven. H1N1, there were riots in Germany, in the UK. There was 98% of the population in Germany. Basically, the government said they were going to pay for 98% of the population to get the H1N1. They protested, and it was just ridiculous. People just said, no way. The reason we didn't have people that died from the H1N1 like Obama predicted was because people en masse refused the vaccine.